6, lecture 3, and we're talking about locating and sensing. So I thought we'd start by, actually first start by looking at the student portfolios. See which ones we have up yet. And
It's the same tab that opens.
oh, I see. It's a double tab. Okay, fine. So let's see, we have 6 so far.
There's mine too. I just didn't know how to put it up there.
Email me.
Okay.
Email me the link.
It's saharmasashi.com.
Okay, let's put that up right now.
Ooh, fancy.
Who's hosting it?
Domain.
Is that free?
No. I'm just sharing a server with the club that I used to run. They don't know about it.
There, most parts.
http://sahar dot or
No dot.
Sahar Masashi.
Just saharmasashi.com.
Such.
Yeah, that's such a steal.
Such.
I wish I could get toddkirkland.com.
why don't you?
Because it's taken.
Okay.
Who else?
You get Todd.Kirkland.me.
Sometimes people add the Todd Kirk.
I got Jared.
Todd
W.
There's like
Dodd.
professional photographers called Todd
At
Kirkland.
the-
Okay, so there's
Aren't they that
Anna's. Oh, Anna's not here.
That Todd.
Okay, we won't look at it then. Jared. Jared's here.
Oh no.
Okay. Nice. No, so you've got education, grade, contact, good.
Email, mail too.
Resume.
Ooh.
Okay.
And they had a nice
Been up to. Great.
attachment.
Nice.
An attachment, yes, and projects, and a couple of links. Okay, great. So it's a start. It's got some information up there, talking points. So you could walk through it in an interview. That's good. Back.
Oh, question? Did you consider using LinkedIn for your resume?
What do you mean, LinkedIn?
Well, if you have a LinkedIn account, and this is
Yeah.
good for everybody, and you indicate in LinkedIn what your different experiences were, then you can click one button and it'll give you a PDF of a nicely formatted resume.
Oh, well, I had a resume that I was working with Hyatt
Uh-huh.
for, so I already had it as a doc.
Yeah.
And I uploaded it to
Yeah.
LinkedIn, so I guess if I wanted to download it there, I could.
Well, the only reason I'll say is that for now until X years from now, you'll be forgetting to update your resume.
Right.
And then 5 years later, what did I do there again? So it's a helpful time saver.
Alright, cool. I'll definitely
Assuming
do that.
LinkedIn is still in business in 20 years.
Alright.
Just a thought.
Thanks, Peter.
Right. So it's this one here. That link.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
And it formats it for you correctly and everything?
Formats it very nicely, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
What did you go to University of Chicago for? Mathematics. You got a PhD in mathematics.
Oh,
And gymnastics.
And gymnastics. Yeah. I was the captain of the gymnastics club. Co-captain.
State champion.
Yeah. That was in high school. A long. Okay, so let's go back to this. Oops. Back. Right, so that looks good. Jeremy, you see yours?
Yeah, there's
Yep. Right, so you have a list of your skills, your LinkedIn, DeviantArt, right? I didn't realize you had an account.
Yeah.
And a link to your pre-work. So for these, I think it might be nice to go and maybe rework. I haven't looked at this, but to look over your code, make sure it's really clean, and then add some screenshots or even videos if you think it's nice for any of the projects you put out. Okay. Great. Screencast, yep. Michael Field, not here. We won't look at his thing.
Weinberg,
Reverse error.
One.
Okay, great. So here
The
on
essentials.
LinkedIn, great.
The essential.
Yeah, great. Your resume, talk about the JBS. Yeah, a couple. Good. So these are links to the GitHub accounts. And again, I think if you do something nice, if you make it nice, then have some screenshots and stuff that'll draw people in, so they want to look more closely at it. Maybe a description of what it is, what it does. And any other projects you've done at school or you do in other classes, put up there. If you had I think one thing that Eduardo was saying yesterday at lunch, remember that he was saying that in the game design industry, if you're looking for a job or an internship, it's good to have computer science experience, and also good to have actually put some things on the Android market.
Yeah.
Right, to actually have had some experience building projects.
Yeah.
And I think employers will be more impressed with that. If they actually see, you built these things, and they work, and they're pretty cool, and you know the code, you can walk me through it. I think that'll help improve your
Can I
marketability.
add something also? Can you go to a website called scriptd.com, SCRIBD.com?
SCRIBD.com.
Yeah. It's kind of a GitHub for documents. Okay, so if you
Yeah.
have papers that you think are excellent, PowerPoint that you think are excellent, you can create an account there.
Oh, upload them there?
And they can be searched there, they can be tagged there, and they store them there, and they deliver them there. It's very nice.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's like a GitHub for the right link grade or something.
There's one other site that's interesting,
Lulu.
Lulu for publication.
Like that's for making many books, actually public books, right?
Yeah, so you can actually, but they also will deliver downloads of books too.
Right.
And so if you want to,
The thing that's fun about Prescripti is it's become a destination, and
Mhm.
people will thumb up things, they will tag things, they will start following you, et cetera, and you can build a reputation around the written word as opposed to the written code, which I think is a
Yeah.
worthwhile thing to do.
yeah, that's very cool. Okay, so we're back to student portfolios. Todd, let's see. Nice again, Google site,
Sure.
resume.
Looks good.
Okay, accomplishments. Nice, so it's a nice start, but put more information there, and eventually you have a landing page.
Wait, can you go back to the resume? It's supposed to pop up an image. It's a Google Doc feeder.
Oh,
yeah, there it is.
Okay, oh, great. Yeah,
That bridge
Uh,
farm.
nice.
Pepperidge Farm, yeah. Too fun.
Yeah. You should say here, I think, well, I don't know. It might be good to say what you're looking for.
True.
Especially, you can tailor this for whatever stage you're at in your job hunt. Like if you're looking for a part-time internship, make the resume say that. This is what I'm looking for now. These are what my skills are. This is what I can offer you. Thought that was interesting too when Ed was saying you should go in there thinking of what you can offer the organization, not how it's going to be great for you in so many ways. And there are things you can offer organizations.
Would that be
especially
listed under like
grades.
knowledge and skills, or would it be something else you'd say?
Right at the top of the resume,
Okay.
and also knowledge and skills. But here, this is kind of just a noun. What do you mean Java? How, you know
Yeah.
Java, but it's, everybody does this.
Yeah, make
But
it very.
I think it gets
generic.
discounted because it's easy
Yeah.
just to write down a whole list of things that you know. It's more impressive if you actually have
True.
projects, yeah?
Can I give an example on the objective? You might write, I'm looking for a job where I can expand my knowledge of how the world really works and build a cool product. That's what you want. Or I'm looking for a job where I can apply what I've learned in my education to help an organization succeed by contributing to the development of their products and supporting their strategy. And that's where you're talking about what they want. So always look at it from that point of view when you think about it.
Okay, so looks pretty good. And it's nice to have a start, so we have something we can talk about. And let's see, Sahar. Great.
That's an old photo.
Yeah. Cool. No glasses, no? No. Let's see, what do you have here? So you have links to places you're at.
You have two about us.
Oh, what about links to projects?
Well, I didn't make that yet.
No, oh, okay, fine, well, shoot, put those out.
It's not your little blurb. It's got two about us.
What?
More about me and one.
More about me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So I
great.
did.
Okay, so those who don't have it up yet, please get your portfolio up and we can make comments and help you make it better. We did? Okay, fine, I'll clear up. So let's look at the homework, blog overview. So, and it's not here, huh? Okay. Gaspar's here, sensors. Okay. Let's see, what are all of these? Android has ambient sensor. Okay, so what's the ambient sensor? Yeah, Tom?
Checks ambient light, so the brightness around you.
Oh, okay. So, checks ambient light, checks, light level.
Isn't that what light does?
It's the ambient light sensor.
Okay. Yeah, and then what about light? Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Magnetic field,
I like that one.
magnetic field.
Yeah, that one, if you hold like a magnet to any side of your phone, it figures out where the field is. I want
Right, so
that.
that's how the compass works, right?
Yeah, but I wanna make a magnet game.
Like a magnet game, where you actually have to have a magnet to play?
You
Yeah.
put a magnet into a camera.
Yeah, that's
See
interesting.
what happens.
I feel like it's a terrible idea to put a magnet near an Android device though. That's a good point, because like the wires.
Yeah, you
But-
kind of fire your
But
phone.
they're like setting you up for disaster.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if it is it dangerous to have a magnet, to put a big magnet on top of your phone?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Huh?
Isn't that like a way of like?
Just have a warning
shooting
message when you
surge?
run it.
I was running on.
Okay, let's,
You can use it for as a metal detector too.
as a metal detector?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, there's an app for a metal detector.
There's an
And
app
that's-
for that?
Yeah, and that's
Because it's gonna
That's
release
one
some
I use
magnetic
for-
field
No way.
effects.
You want to
Something
use
like
that.
that.
So I can walk down the beach with my phone?
So let's, actually,
I'm not sure
let's,
if it's that. I mean,
let's put
I
some
can-
comments or suggestions about how you might use some of these. So ambient light or the light sensor, any ideas? How you could use it in your apps? Yeah?
If it's like not too much light, you can play, Muzak, like elevator music. Like,
So what happens?
you can play Muzak, like elevator music.
If it's dim,
If the lights are dim.
so it said use the light level to fix the mood, to
Yeah.
determine the mood.
Yeah.
So
When they started, it
mood,
was
mood setting,
Okay.
auto mood setting, yeah, that's kinda cool. Todd?
So for like light, you could base off the visuals. So maybe for a giraffe, you have more like a nighttime setting, or if you're
Oh,
Vogable, you have more
okay.
like club style clothing or nighttime
Yeah,
clothing.
Sunglasses if it's light out.
Yeah. So like
auto
mood
content,
Content, yeah.
selection.
And so you can use
Yeah,
it
that's
for
kinda
stud
cool.
finder.
Yeah. Peter,
Oh,
how about if
wait.
it's-
Giraffes
What's that?
It's right here. We have a different.
Oh, if it's bright?
If it's bright.
If it's bright, the giraffe could put on sunglasses?
We have it based on the microphone right now.
Ooh, mine's good.
You don't have it.
You don't have, okay, any other ideas?
Yeah.
When it's dark out, you could have it automatically dim the screen, or have like the keyboard light come on, or in bright sunlight, you could have the screen become brighter.
Dim screen, or, backlit, backlighting,
Oh, yeah, there's.
on, off, yep,
Are you using?
yep.
I was thinking
It says
maybe
it.
it could be another piece of like data for
Where's
habitat based on
It's just
like
going nuts.
what's your mood.
Oh, that's
There's a lot of
interesting,
research
that's
on
interesting, you could store sensor information, send it.
And have like
Up to the
stat
server.
page or whatnot.
You're in a dark room, you're sad, you could correlate, happy sadness with light levels.
Yeah.
Yep, so, store in happy sad database. Yep. Any other things we could do here? Okay, let's move on. So how about, that was light. How about magnetic field, so magnetometer. So Jackie had the idea of a magnet game.
That might be terrible though.
Worst game.
Or up to another phone.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting to look and see. I kind of like that idea of having extra things that you play with. So your phone and some magnets, and so you don't get direct things by moving the magnet around. If it gets too close, you could have a beep. Beep, 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 beep. keep it away.
I wanna make just a random finder.
Yeah, I
mean,
think it's
put it
pretty
back in
sensitive.
times.
Across the room and pick it up.
I don't know, it picks up the Earth's magnetic field, which is pretty small, so I think it's the same as a compass.
Yeah,
Any
I think
other-
most people use it as a compass.
Compass, yeah.
So I think one of the ideas that we had for draft would be to create some sort of mini game that was more directional
Mm-hmm.
and focused. So you could, or I guess it could be something about, no, that wouldn't be able to tell you, that would be more GPS. But like, so you could like change the direction and that would change. Like more of like a, like the spatial ones, like sort of
Mhm.
using it like more of like a spatial one, which is like the orientation, but just using direction instead of like actual orientation of the phone, so you could like spin it like on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I think orientation is usually determined by the magnetic field, unless it's got a gyroscope inside. So this is, orientation input to the giraffe game somehow? Yeah, fine.
I was thinking applications, and I thought of putting the phone in the direction of Kenya to get hints about how to play the giraffe.
Oh, that's interesting. So as you orient it, if it's next year in
finding a
Kenya,
rainbow
right?
kind of thing. Yeah.
And it would tell you, oh, that's interesting. So you could have hints come on when pointed in some direction.
Might be wrong.
Yeah, I know, because that's interesting, because a lot of the games, kids will play moving the mouse and clicking things on the mouse. But maybe the next way of exploration is actually to be changing the orientation to get information that people don't usually think about, yeah?
Yeah, I was thinking about
Sure.
using this magnetometer and the proximity sensor.
Yeah?
Make so that you choose which stage you go to. Let's say that you're in New York and you want to get to Boston in our game. So you would move a certain way, depending on the
I see.
magnetic field, to a digital object that will transport you to the next level. And depending on which way you go, that's what level you go.
Yeah, so that could be interesting. If you finish the game, you could go into some kind of a room and be moving like this and changing to select the door. Right? You could say, that's ways to Boston, or I don't know what it is.
You have now exited Central Park. Which way do you want to go?
Yeah.
And you can see the.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Okay, magnetic field, which is really compass. Unless you're playing the magnet game.
Think of virtual reality.
Okay, any other ideas people want to throw in here? What about for happy sad?
We can just use Mike's suggestion for everything.
No, you had your idea about pointing and everything it points you toward.
I said with the compass,
Yeah,
finding happiness.
yeah,
You could have a compass in the top corner or something,
right.
so you know what direction you're going in.
Compass to find happiness. Happiness or sadness. If you want to,
Does
want
it
to
point
help.
towards
I want to make the world a better place.
or
Where's the most sadness? Let me go
magnetic
there.
happiness?
We actually do have the compass. If you actually look in the code, it's just commented at. But I've actually put the compass in the map.
Yeah.
It's just that it doesn't serve any practical purpose.
But
Yeah.
you can
So
find
it's
happy.
commented at. But you don't really need a compass. You're looking at a map.
But you can find happy.
That's true.
Yeah,
In a way, it'd be nice to have the compass
We
instead
change
of
the
the map.
magnetic
It'd
north.
be more
is-
fun, just like walking around.
But
Well,
then the compass isn't really pointing to.
Especially if you have the Geiger counter too. As you got closer, it would go beep, 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 you know.
But then we don't have the compass pointing to north. Then it's not using the sensor at all.
Happy compass.
No, the compass would, you could have the compass point toward, not toward north, but toward happiness.
Oh, I
So
thought
then
that
it's not using the sensor.
No, it is, because it has to know which way is north to know which way is happiness. Right? It's just not, it's not showing you north.
When you install apps. You
So,
have the compass on the station on the map page or something where.
Okay, orientation. So orientation is actually, I think, also done with the magnetic field, but it also refers more towards not just the north-south, east-west direction, but any orientation. Any applications for that? How you can use that? Yeah?
I was thinking if you flip the phone like
Yeah.
this, like the giraffe will do like a cartwheel or something, and like spiral at all the enemies, try to kill all of them.
You got a very fancy name for it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, you could use that as a control to tilt it and have it do something. Already it's used in switching to the different layouts in the Vogel, but that's automatic. They're automatic, it switches.
Right.
So it could be, give commands to the giraffe. I don't know, what about happy sad, is that?
Orientation.
You know what you could do? You could use it with, for augmented reality. So that as you pick it up and move it, the color of the screen shows you where the happiness is. Right? So, you would actually, it would give you different colors. I don't know about up and down though. I guess you go down like this, you could go look on and see in Korea, right? Or Japan, or Australia. Yeah?
How is orientation involved in this?
What's that? Orientation, okay, orientation is, I'll talk about that later, but orientation tells you exactly what position and angle your phone's at.
Oh, it's like a gyroscope?
Yeah, it gives you, it will recreate, with the orientation, you could draw a picture that would show your phone exactly what angle it's at, like that. So that's what orientation gives you. Okay, pressure. Pressure. Like atmospheric pressure?
Yeah.
Or like finger pressure.
No, it's.
Or finger pressure?
atmospheric.
Atmospheric
No,
pressure?
atmospheric, like barometer pressure. Like a thermometer.
Barometer pressure, wow, so how would you use that?
Outside.
Well, I
Not like
was-
when it's gonna rain.
Yeah, I was thinking about with my app, if it's more humid, it would show you more things that you would want to wear, using temperature as well. Like if it's hot and humid, it would give you like something really light and stuff. If it's
Where is it getting humidity from?
what?
Where is it getting
The
humidity?
pressure. It's atmospheric.
Well, a lot of phones don't have that, I noticed.
So how
Yes.
do you get humidity from pressure?
Well, you get around it by using.
Is it pressure if it's
How does that
more,
work?
if there's more pressure, isn't it more humid?
Pressure
I don't really know.
And there might be, it certainly there's a relationship between pressure
Very
and,
inaccurate.
They figured that.
yeah, cold fronts and warm fronts, that kind of stuff.
Oh, well,
So,
there's something from that.
You can have different backgrounds in the giraffe game.
Attitude than anything else.
what's that?
You can have different backgrounds in the giraffe game, for example.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
could do
cloud
that.
cloudy or.
Ski wear
Yeah.
when you're outside.
Or you would happy sad, you could load that into happy sad and have, as a byproduct, weather,
Right.
kind of information.
I don't think the compass is very accurate. Just.
No?
But you're inside with like,
Yeah, that's true, maybe you have to hold it up like this.
Maybe just a bad phone.
Yeah. Okay, so it's here, pressure, it's not really clear. I can only think of meteorological stuff. If you wanted to, the weather service might be able to do it. If it always collected that information, yeah?
I suggested something which basically says if the app's running in the background and it notices you gripped your phone really tight, it prompts you.
That's probably not the same though,
I think if it's pressure.
you think it's physical pressure actually squeezing on the phone?
No, I think
But
it's
if
air.
it's
No. Or is it air
atmospheric
pressure?
pressure, it explicitly said that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there should be a way to detect physical pressure. Because sometimes you press things lightly and things don't have, because when you should, like, if it's somewhere, like, you could set a number for pressure.
Yeah.
We were going through some Google API app or something, and you could tell how hard the screen was being pressed, and it had a threshold to ignore. I
Mm-hmm.
think we were looking at a game or something like that, but basically you can check how hard you're pressing.
So that's a different kind of pressure. That's like screen pressure or pushing pressure,
I think it's gesture.
screen pressure, which would be interesting, how hard you're pressing on the screen.
So if you're holding the phone really tight.
So that's a different thing, and that you could use a lot to get just more input. Push harder, the giraffe would jump harder, yeah?
Yeah, for the weather thing, wouldn't it be simpler to execute, just get like a service provider or something from like the Weather Channel? Get the weather data?
Could be. Might be interesting though, just as a warning, a local warning that the barometric pressure is dropping quickly, which means usually a big storm is coming.
But what would you use to measure that? What, part.
So there's some pressure sensor,
Oh, there, right.
right?
But a lot of phones don't have that.
Not yet. But,
Not
but
yet.
if it turns out to be a useful feature, people might demand it.
I remember my
I
dad
don't
had
see
a
it,
watch that had one of those, that had a pressure gauge.
A watch?
that-
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Okay, accelerometer. Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes, please do.
I don't know this, maybe, I was thinking like, when you're like flying, when you're like in an airplane, and you're starting you're going, ¿cómo se dice? Pegar avioneta.
Taking off.
Yeah, taking off.
Uh-huh.
So you're supposed to turn off your phone,
Yeah.
but when you go up flying, when it detects a rising of pressure, then it can automatically turn off your connection.
Yeah, that could be interesting, yeah. So an auto airplane mode.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the pressure, so yeah,
When the
that's
pressure
interesting.
starts rising,
Yeah,
you're
or
supposed-
falling probably.
Yeah.
Auto,
Or
auto,
falling, yeah.
auto airplane mode. Yeah, that's actually great.
It just disconnects your connection,
Yeah.
your.
Or at least it would beep at you and tell you, you may want to, give you a choice. You want to go off into airplane mode. Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay.
That way you could in the movies.
Accelerometer.
Pressurize. And turn off all phones.
So what's the accelerometer? What kind of information does that give you? Yeah.
I once used it on a train to find out how fast I was going. I did.
But what is it telling you? What's it actually telling
How
you?
fast you're moving?
That's not true.
No, it
No.
just tells
The
you
movement
if,
of the phone.
if there is movement, yeah, in any direction,
If your phone
right?
accelerates, that's what, it can't detect speed, but it can detect acceleration.
I think it was probably the GPS that was telling you how fast you're going on the train.
No, it was both the accelerometer and.
So the accelerometer, yeah, is not telling you speed. It's giving you the
It's
derivative of
acceleration.
speed, so how speed is changing. If your speed is increasing, or it's giving you force. The
Sure.
force applied to the object.
It works with inertia, I guess.
But once you're moving at a constant
Yeah, once
speed,
you're-
it's not
Yeah,
gonna.
It's not gonna pick
There's
it
no
up.
inertia at a
So
constant.
that's what I'm saying, so it was both the GPS and the accelerometer, because your speed goes up and down.
Yeah, so you can
Not the
integrate,
accelerometer.
you could integrate the accelerometer information
Mhm.
and use that to calculate the change in velocity and use that to
I
calculate.
think it would be significant
Your
enough
velocity.
though to actually affect the accelerometer, because I feel like the accelerometer is more for like, as you're moving the phone around. I don't think it's gonna like, if you had it in a car, unless you're really accelerating hard, I don't think
Try
it's
the
gonna
app.
make a difference.
I'll actually give you the app, I still have it.
Alright.
Wait,
What's
isn't
it
there,
called?
there's something in the APIs we downloaded too that tests the accelerometer.
What is that?
So that's, it's unlikely, I think, unless they get really efficient, that it would be able to give you a good estimate of your speed. Because you'd have to sample pretty quickly, do lots of samples per second and integrate and
It's called
have to be
Ulysses
really subtle,
speedometer.
yeah? But we'll put it anyway, so the speed estimator. Yeah.
I know that there's, I don't know if there's accelerometer, but I remember Pete, I was talking about the push-up guru thing, where, it like teaches, or like guides you through a process to do 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
Well, I know that before, he was telling me about that, my brother got it on his eye something, and you attach it to your arm, and it sparks at you when you go down, how long you should be going down, and when you hit the right point, so it like can tell, I don't know, where you are based on.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
So yeah, he
So-
was doing it for a while, and I tried it, and it was smart, it was good.
So yeah, it could, so in that case, if it's accurate enough, by looking at the change in velocity,
Yeah.
right, it could estimate the
Maybe
distance.
pressure, when you're going down the floor, I don't know.
No, but yeah, so that would be a local position estimator for push-ups.
And that could be.
Push-ups is a great example, or pull-ups, any of those kind of things where,
Or weightlifting.
or jumping jacks,
Yeah.
you could count your jumping jacks.
You can do a lot of exercise.
Or pedometer, maybe counting your walking,
Steps.
okay, counting your steps, unless you're like cheating. Yeah, Joseph?
Yeah, I also don't know if this is what's it, accelerometer.
Uh-huh.
But, I know that the GPSs that people use in cars, they give you the speed you're moving,
Yeah,
and they compare it to, they detect the by law what's the maximum speed you're
Yeah.
supposed to have, and
Yeah.
if you pass the maximum speed, it tells you like it underlines or makes
makes it
something.
red, yeah.
So I don't know if that's, I don't think so. It's accelerometer though.
Very
I
nice.
think so, yeah. Student iPhone,
I know,
assembly,
nothing's happening right now.
This is not
you can download GPS apps that are
It's
they show you the speed of the use.
Yeah, I think that's just straight GPS, but it could show you acceleration, which would be interesting.
Okay.
You know, to actually have something which shows you how fast you're accelerating, how many G forces you've got, right? You know, they show the tachometer, how fast the engine's running, but that's different from the G force. Another example, I think more common, is to detect shakes. If you shake it, you know, you can detect it shaking because your acceleration in particular directions too. Like if you want to move it forward, jerk it forward, it can tell you're accelerating quickly in this direction and then decelerating, or sideways, or circles, or up and down.
I'm not sure if it's this one, but if you look at the API demo
Yeah.
and go to the sensor,
Yeah.
if you actually spin your phone this way, it detects that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, that the API demo has got some nice stuff.
There's some games that use that, I think, like marble game, you know. you can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it does all this, but I wouldn't think it would do this way.
No, that's why they needed to do tilting like a boat or something.
Well, that's this, this,
Uh,
this, and
Oh,
this.
what you mean like this?
Yeah, like, I mean.
That's
this.
weird. I think they had.
Is that the accelerometer that's doing that?
It's,
Why not?
it doesn't
You might
say,
have a
it's
phone
under
that you're
OS.
So
moving
it's
like
the
that.
same thing as this?
Is that a download?
It's in the
API demo?
This isn't different from this, really. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to the API demo and then go down to OS,
Isn't that weird though?
API demo, OS, sensors.
Oh, wait.
Sensors, you're just moving it in a circle, but
You're just moving it faster.
yeah, around a fixed axis whereas you have.
Oh, that's really cool.
Your axis is here when you're moving it.
Right, so this shows you your orientation.
You're just bringing it closer to the point
Okay,
where you're
cut out.
spinning it.
Yeah. But I still find it weird that it would,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that would be more of a compass though.
See the accelerometer? When you go up,
It's not very good.
There's charts.
or
It's orientation, actually.
orientation.
Yeah, because if you keep it still, it still stays tilted.
I think you're right.
I think
Mine's
it's,
not
no, I
very
think
good.
it's accelerometer, because if I jerk it, I'm not actually changing the orientation at all,
Right.
and you can see the,
Then it's a combination, because.
I think you're
That's right, it's a combination.
Combination, because otherwise
You're
I
right.
wouldn't know the stable position.
right, so I think that the graph is the accelerometer, and the orientation is given by the little circles.
So I see, got it, got it.
I think they're connected, the circles and the graphs.
Well, let's see if I move it forward quickly, which one moved? Actually, it's not good because then, okay, here, move it forward, move it left. Oops. It should not switch.
Yeah.
That's a design problem. Cut it out. Anyway, you can play with the sensors here.
Very interesting.
Back. Okay. So accelerometer, so you can, if you want to get some kind of shaking input, that would work. Let's go back to here. Laptop. GPS. Well, you guys are already, Happy Stats using GPS. What about Giraffe?
You automatically win the game if you're in Kenya?
Yeah, I think Kenya wins.
You have to go to Kenya to win?
Well, you open the game in Kenya and you win.
Maybe a certain level can only be played if you're in a certain place.
Or what if it recognizes where you are and then
That's
the
where we start.
closest city would be the background?
That's interesting. Yeah, the zoo, we could actually say, oh, if you're in New York, then you're actually the Central Park Zoo. If you're in Boston, you're the Franklin Park Zoo. Yeah.
Maybe you're the actual giraffe. So let's pretend you're in Central Park and you had the game. And it was like giraffe adventures. They start running really fast to escape the zookeeper.
That's just like zombie run.
Yeah, zombie run.
We still have to play that.
That's hard. The GPS is, you'd have to run really fast.
Oh yeah.
To get the giraffe to actually know its
That-
GPS position has changed.
That'd be
So I
great
think
for
it's like
marathon
20 feet or
trainers.
so before it notices you've moved.
I don't know, they have zombie run. I haven't used it yet though. But
Well, that
it's
could
the
be, is that
same
GPS? That might be accelerometer. Or the orientation.
I think it's GPS, because you look down at.
Might be a combination.
Probably, typically it's
yeah,
best to
GPS.
combine all those things. Yeah,
Enable
Jared?
GPS.
Well, In the API demos, they also have vibrating for Morse code. But what if you did the light on the camera flash instead with Morse code?
That's interesting. So those are actuators. So vibration,
Yeah, there are ways to like catch that one.
and then the light, the LEDs, or what
Yeah,
other lights do you have?
The camera flash.
I don't
Camera
You
know.
can
flash?
target that as a flashlight.
Oh, that's interesting.
My
Camera
phone
flash,
doesn't have camera light.
Really?
and I think
Your
they're
Android phone
LEDs
doesn't
too.
have a camera.
Yep.
Camera, not
Well, you're saying
the
to
light.
GPS, if you're
Flash.
close to the
Flash.
zoo, or
Roof
you're
flash.
inside the borders of the zoo, then you get a new level, which would make it so that people would go to the zoo more.
That's really interesting. Yeah, actually, that could be a big chromo, right? That you
It
say,
also-
if you actually go to the Franklin Park Zoo, you know, you will be advanced a level. But you probably wouldn't want to have to play it there, because they don't want to have everybody sitting there and they're playing a game instead of going out and looking at the giraffes. But you say if you go there, then you get, you know, like, open up a whole bunch of new levels. That's actually pretty interesting.
Giraffe.
That's like a Foursquare model. You know, you get reward for being certain places. So okay, giraffe, you get new levels if you go to the zoo.
Yeah. You go camping.
Yeah. And Happy Sand's already using. What about the?
Well, I was thinking
The gypsies.
it finds the cultural like influence of clothing and like will recommend clothing from that culture as that makes.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have worded that better, but
Yeah. So Vogueable. Use
Trendy in this
GPS
trendy in this area.
for
Yes.
sort of base fashion.
Oh, where are we going, Mike?
Yeah, because if you're in Tokyo, the Tokyo fashion is completely different
Yeah.
from Boston fashion.
Well, you can actually be a little bit more micro than that, because you could say when it recommends fashion,
Mhm.
it factors in not only what you like, but what
Yeah,
people
that's
around here have liked.
Yeah.
Police.
Like, if you literally brand
Oh,
it
that's
as
true. So it could be like Pandora. You just it's based purely on what your preferences are for the music.
Yeah, but this could be influenced by your friends or
Yeah.
not only by your friends.
It could actually say, no,
That's
you spend a lot of time in Alston. You must be a student.
That's creepy.
We suggest sailors.
So yeah, that could be interesting. Okay, GPS, gravity.
Wait,
Is that
it changes.
within orientation? Because I was a little confused about gravity.
Isn't that a constant?
No, it's constant, but it's trying to figure out like who's going down this.
No, you're on the moon.
It's like, you're not on Earth anymore.
So what gravity is gravity's a force, right, that affects
Yeah.
objects. So given the orientation, we'll talk about this in a bit, orientation of the phone, it tells you what the force is in each of the different directions relative to the phone.
Oh, okay.
Relative, so you can use it for orientation.
It might also change if you're, say, going down an elevator.
Yo, I want to have an elevator game.
That's right.
So, I don't.
That's right, if you just drop your phone,
For escalators.
right, then the gravity, I don't know.
No, gravity's not changing.
No,
Gravity's not
won't
changing.
change that way.
Gravity's not changing.
You're
No,
just-
it's just
your
orientation. It's
speed
just
is
as you move the phone.
Yeah.
The gravity vector changes the force on the phone.
Yeah, and even if you're
Yeah.
going down an elevator,
That's
that's just your personal speed. It's not.
That's
No, basically how
that's the
it's-
accelerometer.
Yeah.
The accelerometer.
Yeah.
Go talk
If
to
you
Einstein.
drop the phone, it'll say
Not
zero.
Einstein.
Because
Einstein said you could not tell the difference between acceleration and gravity. And so if you're in an elevator that's dropping, it is, if you measure
Wait, no, but
gravity by any means
Gravity
possible, it would
acceleration.
measure zero.
but then I think the phone will recognize that you have an acceleration.
I
given the
would
gravity.
consider it linear
That's probably how it
acceleration.
does it.
Work because
That's probably how
That's
it
how
does
it
it.
calculates it, but the whole thing is, what is gravity?
Oh my God.
oh,
Gravity-
it's not-
gravity's a
gravity's
constant
not
force.
a force.
Gravity is not a force. Gravity is acceleration.
It's an acceleration that's on you and everyone, but it's
It's a constant
it adds-
acceleration.
It's a constant acceleration that is a
Exactly,
constant force
it's
as well.
an acceleration, and that's why it changes, because you can make
You
it
no,
more
you
so
can't
that you
change
can-
gravity.
No,
You can, you
That's
go to
the
the
whole
moon.
purpose of a gravity sensor.
You
I'm
can
just
curve
saying,
space-time a little
relative,
bit.
if you drop like
Also,
10 feet,
John,
you're
the
not
reason why
changing
I'm
gravity.
saying this is because in an experiment in which they drove a plane up and down, or flew a plane up and down, they got people into space where there was no gravity, so people could fly around.
Because that's in the air. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about on the ground when you're
It's
dropping
on,
10
it's
feet.
within the atmosphere though.
But air is a lot thinner.
No, that's what
It's a lot
It's
different.
a
It's a
lot
lot
different.
different.
You're still in there.
Wait.
No, it's a lot different in like the.
Okay, well, let's,
I think we should take this.
Josh, does that mean birds don't fall?
okay, let's stop talking about gravity. We can talk about lunch. We can postpone our physics talk until lunch. So, which is interesting, but it's not directly related to the Android operating system. And maybe we should go look and see exactly how they do measure gravity in this thing. I don't know. Other things, let's see, temperature.
I like my idea for this.
What was your idea?
If it's cold, it recommends jackets. If it's hot, it recommends
Ooh, yeah.
bathing suits.
Planning a trip.
If you're planning a trip, I mean, you can still do it otherwise, but I mean, it could be
Recommends
temperature.
jackets, etc.
What if you left it on the
Cool.
radiator?
No, put on the air conditioner and use the phone. So if it's like
You guys, I'm
97
not
out.
actually gonna do this.
No, it's a nice idea. I think it's a nice idea.
I'm also really
Yeah,
curious
Jackie,
what
what
if
is?
Jackie, what if it gets really, really hot?
Yeah. Swimming suits. Recommend swimming suits. What about for other things, like for the giraffe thing? Do you want to have it snowing if it gets starts getting really cold?
Yeah.
Can the giraffe
That
get
would
a
be
scarf
really
if
cool.
it's really cold?
Put a scarf on it? Yeah, so generally, have
very
have
long
a
scarf.
Buy these for money.
It's so cute.
have a
That'd be a
giraffe.
whole new level of gameplay if we do that.
Dress for
This
the
is a
weather.
really cool idea.
Yeah.
We could have a mission
I
to go
think
to.
I think you need to do it.
Alright.
It'd be it'd be a hidden
It's so
feature.
cute.
Of Zelda seasons.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
And so depending, there's a game Legend of Zelda seasons, and depending on the season, certain things happen. But you could do that depending on the temperature of your phone. You can have like certain areas be unlocked, or like you'll be able to melt snow if your phone is warm. And otherwise you have to cool off your phone in order to like cross a river to make it ice or something.
That's
Yeah, that could be
awesome.
Legend of Zelda
interesting.
seasons doesn't rely on actual seasons.
Yeah, I know.
No.
You can make it.
But make it giraffe temperature. And if they have to cross the Hudson, warm it up. You have to
For
blow on
phones that
it.
didn't have-
Maybe you have to put the phone in the refrigerator for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
To
how
come out.
many-
That might not be a good idea. What's that?
I'm wondering how many kids damage their phones.
I know, that's the trouble. You gotta be careful about
Just
that.
throw this in the oven.
That's
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody did it.
There was a
Yeah,
game
that's-
for Nintendo
that's the
Game
business
Boy
model.
called like
It's a
Outside.
cell phone.
And it was a game that had a solar sensor. And if you played outside, your
Thank
gun
you.
would actually get more energy because you would be playing in the sun. It was self-scam.
So that's an interesting idea.
So, and it was a good game. So
Yeah.
Try to get kids to play outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah, sort of basing that off the point, like maybe like you get not just like power ups or other benefits or other you unlock, like get the sunny level where like it's like all sunshine and happiness. So people have an incentive to like go to this virtual reality of happiness if they continue to stay out in the sun. Be like, oh wow, I'm actually breathing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Or you can make it energy saver, so if it's in the summer and it's hot, they get benefits, but not if it's cold because they're in an air-conditioned room wasting energy. Or if they're in the winter and it's cool. Right? Okay, temperature, what else we have here? Rotation, which I think is still orientation. Microphone. How can you use the microphone? Yeah?
You can use it in different ways. Like for happy, sad, you can just be like, while you're writing your comment, instead of like typing it out, you can use a microphone to say what you want to say. For a giraffe, you could, I think some of their ideas were like sunglasses on, and then always have like the sunglasses on, like different like power ups or stuff that you can
Right,
speak
voice
to the
command.
device. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? How would Vogable
No,
with voice commands or?
If there's techno music playing.
Listen for the ambient music.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Sound of traffic, what's that?
Ambient music, you can tell where you are.
Suits, business suits.
Depending on how cool this is, maybe if you make the person read a sentence and you can immediately profile them, you can know it's a man or a woman, you can know whether it's of Asian or African descent or something like that. There's a fashion profile based on that, it's probably not.
Vocal profiling.
That's cool.
Yeah, or their stress level, you might be able to detect their stress level.
Especially for happy, sad, like.
Yeah, for happy, sad, in fact, and then it could just automatically pick happy or sad.
Yeah.
So, oh, you are sad, I can tell. Very happy.
No, I'm happy.
Yep.
Oh, you're not.
Or emotion. Yeah. Yeah.
Voice
The microphone, I know sometimes if you clip it to like, or put it on a surface, it can read the signals. So for Vogable, if you just had the phone on the counter, maybe if you just swiped your finger near the phone, it would switch the picture. So you wouldn't actually have to touch the screen.
With the microphone, it would hear.
Yeah, because I know if you look online, they have a bunch of things where they clip a microphone to a piece of paper,
Yep.
and then they can just move their finger on the piece of paper, and it knows exactly where your finger is. So it reads the location of your finger based off the sound or the vibration.
Off the sound. Oh, that's interesting.
There was also an app on iPhone which would give you the wind speed by holding it up in the wind, but it didn't work very well.
Really?
Sound-based location, so it's like bats. Echolocation or something?
That kind of
Location, do you think you could do that? Phone?
Echolocation?
I know bats do it.
Actually, that, yeah, we could do that if you, if it would make,
Yeah. You can help people out. Blind people.
that blind people, that would be interesting to have a little echolocator.
Or
Yeah.
maybe if you're like in caves.
If the lights go out.
Yeah,
Let's go do this, just turn it on, it's got a little light.
Yes, you What do you wanna?
Or radar.
Echolocation, yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not gonna use one.
I can use my light. Let's stay in the dark.
Okay, cell tower.
Cat's magic.
They have a solution for that gives, they have a light feature.
Yeah, no lights. They
So
ruins the
cell
vibe.
tower, is that a sensor? Can it detect cell towers?
I didn't see that. I didn't know where everyone.
Oh yeah, it says
Well,
you get the location.
Cell towers detect it, but I don't know if the phone can tell you where the nearest cell tower is or how many cell towers it's connected to.
Well,
I don't know if it does or
precision
not.
strength, so maybe something about locations on there.
It does have signal strength, but is it getting that from this,
From a specific.
Is the cell tower telling it?
Oh, that's
or is it detecting it? I don't know.
The question is, what is the information you're getting about a cell tower? Could it just a string that says the name of it?
Yeah, are you getting any information about the?
41, that's
Yeah.
cell tower.
So this one I think is a question we'd have to look into it. But if you did know
If you
You
get the
did
name
know
and the
the-
distance.
the distance and the IDs of the cell towers, then you could triangulate, and signal strength. You could try. I know that the cell towers know. They know the signal strength from the phone, but I don't know if it goes back. How about Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi, we do have signal strength for Wi-Fi.
What if you had a
We do
Wi-Fi
detect that.
beeper?
What's that?
What if you had a Wi-Fi beeper?
That you would point, it would say where the, you
More-
could
more
find the Wi-Fi
Networks.
networks, actually find which closet it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
You lost your modem in your apartment.
So, Wi-Fi witching wand. Witching wand, direct you to the Wi-Fi closets, like a stud detector, a Wi-Fi detector.
But you could do that with the magnet thing. You can make a stud finder.
Stud finder with magnet, yeah, that might work. So there is a big use for these, for Wi-Fi detection. Skyhook uses that, and I think Apple. Is that the name of the company? But to determine where you are instead of GPS. If you don't have a GPS-enabled phone, it can just see what the IDs of the Wi-Fi machines are around you, and then has a huge database that tells where they all are. And based on what Wi-Fi connections you're making, it can tell you where you are pretty accurately. And if it's these systems typically report back to the main server. So if somebody actually picks up a Wi-Fi device and moves it, right, that'll mess the things up a little bit, but then they can detect it got moved and change the database. So, and I think they start out just by war driving down all the streets, getting all the information.
Somebody complained
With
that
the
that
GPS.
was a breach of privacy, and it's a bit problematic for Google now.
Yeah,
they
they
had
are
like a
very-
lawsuit because you
Well, there's companies that also, their whole business model is based on that, so, yeah, I don't know, is it a breach of privacy?
I think it's Google that collected all of that and like all the Androids can access it because using Wi-Fi you can do location-based sensing.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, I got an idea for the magnetic field.
Yeah.
Maybe you could make a key finder. A key finder.
Key finder?
Find your
That's a
key.
good idea.
Or
Well, you put a little magnet on the key to.
No,
Well, I
but
think
it recognizes
if it's a
metal.
magnetic if it's a magnetic field sensor, I'm sure it should have a magnet inside it.
So, key finder.
I think you'll get lost though.
Yeah.
A lot of other.
Yeah, I think that'd be really hard to target the key.
It would just be just as wonky as the app.
Yeah.
You have to know exactly how much metal.
Yeah, I guess it's not
I
direction.
found my keys.
Okay. Now how about Bluetooth? Is Bluetooth a sensor? It must be, yeah, it does. Okay, so, I didn't get my keys. Which ones, anybody have other ones? This was just Gus Bar.
Oh, this thing is blowing up next to me.
Your computer.
So we get, anybody else, did we miss any
Well, that's your
sensors?
hard drive, see what happens.
I don't want to take away.
Any sensors we missed? There is one. The near field sensor?
Oh, proximity sensor.
No, not proximity, near field communication.
Fingerprint.
Yeah, no, it's the one that reads like the credit cards.
Yeah, NFC, near field communication.
Yeah,
They have
NFC.
those?
So some of these devices, not this one, but I think the latest, I mean, not this one, wherever it is.
Didn't point
The latest
camera
Google
there.
phone will read credit cards.
Camera.
Right, if you touch it, it has to be, really close, it has to actually touch it, and it can read. And there's all kinds
How
of
does that
possibilities for
work?
that. What's that?
How does that work?
I think it generates a electromagnetic signal that activates some circuit in whatever that device is, and it can then read, it can determine the ID of that device.
So then you just like take your credit card and swipe it
Just
across
touch it,
the
like
Wow.
tapping. When you tap on the your card, Charlie card,
Right.
it's like that. Touch it like that.
That's so cool.
So that's if you want to
Camera
buy,
is
if you want to buy something from internet, you instead of putting all your credit card information, you put your own card and you buy your credit card.
Yeah, you might be able to do that. You could do that. Yep.
What about a camera?
We didn't put the camera there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Camera.
You raise your hand.
Yeah. So camera, we have, Happy Sad, who's going to use it? Yep.
Trackball.
Trackball, yes, all the little other sensors there, all the input widgets. Trackball, etc. Screen. Touch screen. Right, so it's got sensors we can touch. I don't know if it registers pressure or not. It does?
Some of them
I
do.
think it has to because there are some.
Some screens do, some
I'm trying
don't.
to think actually.
Okay,
Then there's
let's
a
see.
keyboard. Some phones.
Anything else?
Multi-touch.
Some do, some
Multi-touch,
don't.
that's right. So multi-touch is different from touch. So multi-touch, the API actually will give you a vector of 5 positions, up to 5 positions, that correspond to the 5 fingers you have. pushing it.
I thought it was 250.
Why can't you do 10?
I don't think I don't think it's that accurate.
Doesn't fit.
10, you could try. Well, on a big device you could.
You can't even get 10.
Put your
You
finger.
can do
in.
10 on the iPad app Uzu, which is really fun.
Let's see, did we, anything else we missed?
Using.
I think that was about it. So let me talk a little bit about how some of this stuff works. Yes, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the orientation, in case anybody wants to use it. And also, there's an example here. Go back. Here. And then one example I thought we could explore a little bit is augmented reality. right? Which is the idea that you would have your device, and get out of here, and you would have the camera. Is this it? Yes. So you have the camera, and you look around as you move it. You'd see the real world, but you'd also see sort of augmented reality stuff there too. And here's an example. I don't know if you can see it. I guess I put there.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
You see the little cubes and stuff?
Yep.
It's like,
That stay there in the same relative position as I rotate this.
Right. What is that?
So there's some little cubes.
What app is that though?
This is an AR demo. And what it's doing is it's using the orientation matrix, right? And it's even if you turn it down, you can receive it, see stuff below you. You turn it up, you see stuff above you.
yeah, it's like on the new
Right, yeah.
Nintendo, there's a
Yeah,
game.
that game where you take a
Yeah.
picture of like someone
Friends
and
and
they
their
fight
bubble
you.
heads try and attack you, and they're coming from all sides, so you have to move the thing around. To
Yeah,
like,
there's one for stars.
Yeah.
You can take it up and look at you point it up there and it
Google
shows you the
Sky.
constellations.
Yeah.
As you move it.
So that one's cool.
So how would that work? How do you do that?
Quick question, does the stars one actually look at stars and base it off of that?
No.
that
It's just
one does.
orientation and compass.
Yeah.
Or it could, but
I don't think the
it
camera's
could
powerful.
try to identify stars or the moon or something to get to have it more refined. And use accelerometer information. I mean, I think the best results would be if you combine as many sensors as you could, because there's going to be some error in most of these. So let's look a little bit about how this stuff works.
You put the giraffe in real
So here.
I think a real giraffe.
Yeah, just on camera,
Mhm.
have it running.
So let me talk about and this is good because we're going to be talking about 3D games next week. I don't remember, next week? I think next week we start doing Blender.
Cool.
So I'll teach you how to make 3D games.
Wow, Blender, get the full game experience.
It'll be different, pure game stuff, no Android at all. So the idea is if you've got your little phone here, right, here's your phone, screen, little buttons. Then there's a coordinate system relative to the phone, which is right there. So this is the center of the phone, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and then pointing out at you, pointing out this way is the z-axis. So x, y, z. Okay, so this is the device coordinate system. Device coordinate system. Assuming this is, say, Galaxy Tab, this is the center, what would the coordinate of this point be? Roughly.
0,
In I don't know,
1,
centimeters.
0, 8,000.
It'll be 110.
Yeah.
110.
Or
Or say
570.
570. Right.
Where's C?
5 centimeters over, 7 centimeters up, 0. Yeah. How about this one down here?
How is it 0, sorry?
0 because it's right on the top of the front. The z coordinate is distance away from the screen.
But you're looking at the corner.
Yes, and it's on the screen. I mean, it's on the
all right.
same plane.
Alright,
The z equals 0 plane.
alright.
This one here would be a little bit lower. This would be 5, 7 minus 0.5 or something.
Alright.
Right? And where would you be? Where would your eyes be?
0, well, some number,
Yeah.
some other
Zero-
number.
zero-
So here's your eyes out here.
Some positive number.
So it'd be something like 0,
Not
0,
even a 0.
40 or something. Some small numbers, you're out there 40 centimeters away or something.
But then you have
Right.
to.
So it's all relative. And then if you rotate the phone, your eye changes its position, right, relative to the phone coordinates. So this gives you a coordinate system that as you move it like this, the real world is in different coordinates. What's the world coordinate system? So this is device coordinates. Device coordinate system. And there's another coordinate system where you've got the world. that, and you're on the world, say right here. And then what are the coordinates there?
Rho, pi.
No, so the device, this is the world coordinate system. World coordinate system. And for there, the y direction is north. It's going the north direction. The z direction is straight up, is up. And the x direction, x is east. Well, it's really y cross z, the cross product of y and z. Anybody knows that stuff? But basically, a cross product is any two vectors, they define a plane, right? They define a plane, and then if you look at the vector perpendicular to that plane, that's the direction of the cross product. And there's actually two directions you could go. So it's use the right-hand rule. This is x, y, and the z is that direction. So the cross product goes that direction instead of that direction. I can't make it, right? So this is the world coordinate system. So, yes?
Where's the origin?
Right there.
Oh, okay. So it's still relevant to your location?
Yeah. So, I guess if you want, really, you could have the origin be the same. Could be the phone, the center of the phone would make sense. Okay, so so here, where's the y direction from here?
If you're looking.
Right. I mean, right now, would anybody know what way north is?
Oh, that way.
That way's north.
It's like
Okay, so that's y.
North is like
Here's
here.
the y-axis. Where's the z-axis from here? Right there. Where's the x-axis? Right there. Right. So x, y, z, according to the phone, the device. Right. So here's my device. Let's see, there was y, x, z. So if I want to align the two systems exactly, how would I do that? If I want to get them aligned, I would point the y this direction toward north and z. Now they're perfectly aligned. So now, what's the transformation? If I want to go from something in device coordinate systems to world coordinate systems, right? This point here is 570 in device coordinate systems. What is it in world coordinate systems?
It's the y's up a bit more.
Right now, it's still exactly the same as 570 because they're the same system.
Oh, it's off the phone.
Because it's relative to the phone, relative to the center of that
Have you
phone.
put it on the floor for that?
Well, right, I'm just saying it's relative to the center of the phone, the world coordinate system.
Oh, so the z also.
Right, the z also. So it's right there. It's exactly the same. So now, so they're the same. So the transformation to go from the device coordinate system to world and backwards is the identity. It's exactly the same. What if I do this?
It's the inverse.
How then if I have a device, here I have device coordinate system, world coordinate system. If I've got x, y, z in device coordinate system, like 570, this point here in device, and I flip it around the other direction.
Rotate around.
Negative.
World coordinates.
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
Would it would negate y.
So it would be, if I flipped it around, it corresponds to this point over here, right? So it'd be minus 5, minus 7, 0. So minus x, minus y, z. Right? What if I do this?
Then it's negative, negative, negative.
So what is this? Well, where does 570 go?
Oh, no, that
If I
goes.
flip it over.
So it would be up there.
Same way, minus x.
Same y, yeah.
So y doesn't change,
But x and z are negated.
but x and z are negated, right? Yes, x and z are negated. So that would be minus x, y, minus z. This map from here to here is called the, is what you can get that by get orientation matrix. Orientation matrix from the orientation sensor. So this, it's a way of transforming from the device coordinate system into the world coordinate system. Okay, so let me just briefly say, how do you, so if you have X, Y, Z, the usual way to do this with matrix, how many people have multiplied the matrix in the last 6 months? 1, 2, almost nobody? Okay.
35 years?
35 years? Okay, well, I'll give you a brief lowdown. Matrix multiplication is a way of transforming, getting all these kinds of transformations. Every possible rotation can be specified, not just this or this, but anything, and a whole bunch more by this kind of an operation. And what you do is you multiply each row by the column, and to do that you multiply the corresponding elements together and add. So the AX plus BY plus CZ is the new X coordinate. And the new Y coordinate is DX plus EY plus FZ. And the new Z coordinate would be GX plus HY plus IZ. So that's a 3x3 matrix applied to a vector. And that, so what would, that's just one last thing, what would be the 3x3 matrix to do this transformation?
-1, 0, 0, 0, -1, 0, 0, 0, 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's pretty easy. And we'll talk a little bit more about these later. In fact, we'll talk a lot about this when we do OpenGL. We'll do OpenGL next week, next Thursday, I think. And talk about all the different kinds of rotations you can do, and cross products and all kinds of really fun stuff. Okay, so let's take a break.